William Hickman Ewing, Jr., Captain, U.S. Navy Reserve, retired. But we had special operations, and for one, we had south of Cameron near Phan Rang, it was all VC, and the Army and Koreans were sweeping an area. We're off the coast. If anybody tries to get out, we're stopping. And we had another big operation up north of Cameron where the ROKs, the Republic of Korea, they swept a peninsula. There hadn't been any friendlies in there since 1954. And we're in there and we're shooting gunfire and watching, got starlight scopes. So, we'd have SEALs came up, worked with SEALs, took them in, and so, that's the normal routine. And then we had, in my division, our new skipper was Ed Farrell, and I went, you get 1 week of R&R in the year, and I went to Hong Kong. I'd been there probably 5 times before on my other ships. And I went, and when I got back, I was supposed to be the ops officer. You would take one of the senior guys who'd been there 7 or 8 months and let him be the number 2 guy, and he'd do the briefings. And I was going to be the ops officer. When I got back after the July 4th weekend, I'm met by a guy named Bill Hancock, one of the most colorful guys ever. His nickname was New Kid. Everybody had a nickname. Mine was Nguyen, because I'd wear my black pajamas and I could speak Vietnamese. And we'd have an unofficial radio net and we would talk. Well, New Kid, when he arrived there, he's a Naval Academy boy, and he took one look at the officers club and he said, "This is unsafe." And within 3 days, he had remodeled this place, and now we got a real officers club, and we called it the New Kid Memorial Library and Coffee Mess. And I don't think any coffee was ever consumed in there. But anyway, he made Vice Admiral. There were a lot of Swifties that went on, and on the Swift Boat website, it has people who retired, both officer and enlisted, and we were very fortunate. Another guy, Jim Amaral. I became an ops officer, and in July of '67, my skipper, New Kid, picked me up at the airport and said, "General Westmoreland, he wants 4 Swift boats and 6 crews immediately to go to the Qua Viet River," which was the dividing line between North and South Vietnam. So I got back from Hong Kong, and 4 crews are gone, 4 boats, and my skipper's gone. Well, now I relieve the guy. Now I'm in charge. Skipper would come down, 2 days a month. It was in July of '67 that the Swift boat people that were in Saigon, our commander, moved to Cam Ranh, and the market time operation moved to Cam Ranh. So they were then on our base, and so we worked with them, and so and when I was an ops officer, of course, I'm doing the briefings, and you're trying to figure out things, and we had some close calls with people. We had there's a guy named Rusty Hodges, played football in North Carolina, weighed about 300, and he ran his boat aground down in the VC area, and the tide went out. We were all scared that they were going to come out and get him, so we scrambled a bunch of boats. So we went. I would say a lot of our time it was boring, but then you had to be ready, and we did a lot of shooting. There was a guy. As I told you, if we had an American spotter, we could shoot. Well, the spotter for our area was Navy spotter, was call sign Scrappy 26 Charlie. And so you loved it when Scrappy 26 Charlie called you and said, "We got a mission for you." Well, I'm going through Nha Trang one day, and our Coastal Surveillance Center, call sign Halo Shampoo, said, "Can you pick up Scrappy 26 Charlie and take him out to a destroyer?" And I picked him up, took him. It was the Turner Joy, the same ship that was in the Tonkin Gulf thing, and it was doing some shooting in our area. And I say to Scrappy 26, his real name was Charlie Thompson. "Where are you from, man?" "Memphis." "What? I'm from Memphis too." "Where'd you go to high school?" "Central." "When did you get out?" "60. I got out of Whitehaven in '60. Do you know something?" And we knew 50 people. So we go on up. He said, well, let's shoot. I said, man, I can't shoot unless I got a spotter. He said, well, I'm a spotter. I said, yeah, but they don't know any different. So, you know, but he knew where stuff was. So we're shooting and we're getting secondary explosion, you know, because he knew where the bad guys were. But anyway, this guy, I didn't know what happened to him. He became a friend. I had about 7 months left in the Navy. I'd been in 3.5 years when my Vietnam tour was up. And what are you gonna do for extra 6, 7 months? Well, one of my brothers, I'd had a brother there in the Army, and I had another brother that was in the Marine Reserves. He was going to Mississippi State. He decided one weekend it was more important to see the Mississippi State-Auburn game than to go to drill. So they called him to active duty for 2 years. And he's at Camp Pendleton getting ready to come to Vietnam. And they had a rule back then that you didn't have to have more than one person from a family in country. So I wrote him. I said, look, you know, where I am, they didn't like being in the Marines, being out in the Army at, you know, the Yadrong Valley. And if it'll keep you from coming, I'm thinking about extending it for 6 months. And he wrote back and finally said, look, you know, even if you did it 6 months, I'd still have 9 months they'll send me anyway. And about that time, I get orders in the mail. And then my options were I was either going to go to Coronado and be an instructor at Swift Boat School, or they were going to take Swift boats 8 or 10 at a time and take them to Sasebo, Japan or the Philippines and refurbish them. We had 5/8 inch aluminum hull, and some of them were getting thin. You know, you drop a wrench down there and you start, you know, wearing in there. So I was going to do that and was, you know, put my papers in. Well, I get orders from Bupers saying, we're ordering you to be the CIC officer on the USS Dewey out of Norfolk.